Alright guys, so we're going to continue with learning. So notice that we're moving on to lesson 29. This is in unit 5. So we're going to be making some connections with this unit, which is all about quadratic functions, and the last thing we did in unit 4, which is multiplying polynomials. So that's why I had you guys watch that video about factoring polynomials. We're going to tie everything together. So for now, just keep that in mind. But before we start, I do want to address a few things about a quadratic function. So graph a quadratic function, interpret key parts of a graph and all that stuff. So before we actually do anything, I just want to make sure that you recognize the vocabulary. So again, depending on your 8th grade math teacher, you probably remember some of this stuff. So I'm just gonna do a little bit review on that, and then we're gonna tie everything we did with the video I showed you, ask you to watch, and what we're gonna do today. We're gonna see how everything just comes back to it again. So quadratic formulas. So quadratic functions. So if you remember quadratic function, the equation in standard form looks like this. F of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, or using two variable notation, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So again, we're going to make some connections to quadratic functions and multiplying binomials. So keep that in mind. The graph of a quadratic function so we call a parabola. And I'll give you two general examples. So again, if we were to graph a parabola or quadratic function, it has a very specific look, like if features. So in this here we have graph lines, so you can visualize a line in your head. We did exponential functions, so you can visualize the exponential function. So the next one we're going to do is this one, which is the quadratic formula. And the shape of this is what we call a parabola. So let me just draw an axis, x and y axis. And I'm just going to use a different color. So parabola has this shape. So again, this is just an example. So it looks like a U is a curve. There's some features about a parabola that we'll talk about. Or another example, it could be something like this. So notice that it's looks like a letter U, not a V, U, and it can either open up or open down. So notice that this one, parabola, opens up, and here the parabola opens down. So there's some features about a parabola that is always true. One is this right here. So in this case, this point right here. So if you think of a mountain and then you're coming down the mountain and then this is the lowest point of the mountain. So you'd be like between two mountains. That's called the vertex. And again, it's a point. X, y. We don't know what it is, but the point is X, y. Or or if you're thinking about a parabola that opens down, so think of it a mountain that's the highest point on a mountain. This will be the vertex. And it gets a point x, comma, y. So that's how we call the vertex of a parabola. Also, one thing to keep in mind, actually, let me right here, vertex x, comma, y. There's some properties of parabola. So if you were to cut the parabola in half, you will see that it's symmetric. And by half, I mean by this. So if you were to draw this dotted line right here, you see how the dotted line goes to the vertex. If you were to draw this vertical line, this is what we call the axis of symmetry. And again, that's if we were to cut that in half and were to fold it over, everything would neatly overlap. So in this case, the axis of symmetry is this one. So all parabolas have an axis of symmetry. Next thing to keep in mind, notice that in this case, we see that the parabola touches the x-axis 2 times. I'm just gonna 1, 2. Here has the x-intercepts also. Another has a y-intercept. Another y-intercept. So those are just a few things I want you to keep in mind. Like one again, now we're talking about parabolas. In your head, you should be saying, "Oh, it's going to look like a letter U." It can either be like a U opening up or a U opening down. Or the lowest point is what we call the vertex. The highest point is what we call the vertex. And there's an invisible line, and we draw a dotted line. That if I was to draw that line to the vertex, is what we call the axis of symmetry. So that's true for all parabolas. So the only thing I want to add here is that when the parabola opens up, the vertex is a minimum, meaning that's the lowest point of a parabola. Lowest point in the parabola. And when the parabola opens down, the vertex is a maximum, or we also say that by maximum we mean the highest point of a parabola. Okay, so then this is where I want to stop, because if you look in the book, we're already giving us functions of parabolas. So we're going to look at how to grab a parabola by a table, and then when no table is given. So again, we're going to make some connections within multiplying polynomials, and the video showed about factoring to put everything together. What I do want you to recognize again is the equation in standard form of a parabola, what it looks like, what the axis of symmetry should be labeled, where it should be located at, what is the vertex, and then again we'll make some connections about intercepts and all that stuff. So just make sure you watch the lesson, and if you have any questions, remember to log into my session office hours, which is every Friday. If you need the code, let me know and I'll send you the code. Stay safe, guys.